Talking Dagger today, my first ever video. And I'm a big influencer. Dagger's a three-man tag involving a deep dig, some sort of clear out from two, and then your third element being either receiver, tight end, back from the other side on play action, being your flat guy. So it's a three-man. Uh, the flank's a three-man concept, right? I need three guys to complete the whole Dagger concept. And timing-wise, it can be a first look side, or it can end up being a scan side depending on the coverage structure. I'll get to that in just a little bit. Same thing based off the coverage structure. I could have a hook curl stretch, or I could have an outside flood stretch, being one high or two high. Yards per play. This is based off about an 80 game cut up from the Shanahan tree. It's about 7.2 yards per play, which is pretty good. That's off 64 reps. With the efficiency being really high at 182. For those that you have seen other videos, efficiency normally is about 117 on pass plays in the NFL. So anything over that is obviously pretty good. This is one of my just randomized formulas, so we can go through that another day. The route distribution of where the football went when Dagger was called, the backside tag. So here I just have a curl flat drawn. Backside tag got the ball 6 times. You can do different one high beaters back here. That got the ball 6 times. The through route, getting the ball 6 times. The dig, getting it 20. And then the flat element being either a bait or a true check release flat, getting the ball 17 times, with 15 times being sack or scrambles. So what is the Dagger concept? How do you teach it? How do you install it? So it's a 3-man flank concept, as we said. So I'm going to have a deep dig for number 1, usually at around that 18-yard mark. So a deep dig, speed turn it, flat at 18, with, I think the best way of running it is a through route from 2. So we've run it in the past as a straight seam. I will discuss why this is better, the through route. So what is a through route? So a through route is a 1 high or 2 high read from the slot receiver. So 2 high, he's running an inside post, breaking at 12 yards, with the catch point being on the opposite hash at 40, which really serves as a complete clear out in 2 high. So 2 high, it's an inside post. 1 high is that deep cross, that high cross, however you teach that thing in your offense. For me, you're inside stemming to 12 yards. At 12 yards, you're sticking your foot in the ground, and you're aiming to run out of bounds at 25 yards. So 1 high, it's your cross. 2 high, it's your inside post, with hopefully a bait coming from the backfield or number 3 route, number 3 in trips. So a bait, this is not quite drawn perfectly. A bait is 5 yards on the hash. If you're matched, you can end up breaking out. So a lot of people run a flat route, and I'll get to the film. We'll show you why a bait route is better than a true flat route. So looking at how this matches up against coverages, for those that have seen other videos, or if you haven't, I use a 1 through 5 grading system, which is here on the right. 1 being premier look, think double post in the quarters. 5 being you don't have a shot in hell to run the football play. Okay, you're putting your kids in a really bad position. So before I get into that, I do want to talk about the read real quick for the quarterback. It's a 1 high, 2 high, split, close, however you term that read for the quarterback. So 1 high, I'm going boundary, tag, whatever it is. Here, I like the curl flat the best. I'm going, if it's 1 high, I'm going boundary side. So it's 1 to the cross over top of it for 2. If it's 2 high, then I really like this inside post to clear out. And I'm going dig 1 to my flat as my second look. Okay. So once again, it's a 1 high, 2 high read. 2 high, I like the dig side. 1 high, I like the backside tag to the over route. Now you can see this on film as it opens up. So you can see the grades. I really like it against the 1 family. I like this look over here against 1. You have a curl and a runaway crosser. Against cover 2, obviously like the dig. We're going to clear out the middle. We're going to clear out the deep safety. And if it's Tampa, we'll end up clearing out the Tampa runner. And now I'm putting 2 guys on the curl defender, right? I'm putting a guy in the curl and a guy in the hook. I'm just getting in out. Sorry. I'm going to end up in-outing this guy. And 3, the dagger side can be covered. The dig side can be covered pretty easily, right? Because now you have a hook and a curl defender to take away these 2 options. But once again, I really like the curl flat to the high cross. Same thing in fire zone. Orders can be tricky based off how wide the three receiver hook defender gets. Being the mic here, if he drops wide enough to take it with the dig, it's obviously not a good play. Hence why the three. You have to game plan that and see if the play action will suck him up. And if not, it's probably not a great play because now he can relate to the dig and send it on the hash, which is the strike point generally. 5 being man match halves, it's premier, right? The beater in man match halves is obviously 1 behind 2 if they don't drop the crease route. So you're clear out the 2 runner. The wall inside carry player of 2 is going to run with it, and you have the dig right behind them. Many cuts of this coming up and see how wide open it is. Not great against 2-man, should probably actually be a 4. Right, you're kind of in a bad position. You have to win the curl, which is not great against 2-man with inside hard leverage, or you have to win, the post. It's probably not a great play. Should probably be a 4. 6 being man match cover 3 world, and it's gonna end up playing out just like one rat. You have to win the curl back over here. Right, it's 1 high. Same thing here. 7 being man match quarters, throwing a press man dig is not what you want. But you're hoping to pop one of these 2 routes in the down. And then 8 being quarter halves ends up being the same thing as quarters to the field, right? You're just playing off the 3 receiver hook guy and how much depth he can get if he can cover it out. So I'm going to have hopefully 1 or 2 of each of these on the film and hopefully tie this thing together a little bit better for you. All right, so starting in true man coverage, right? We can see we're going to work the boundary side as a quarterback. Here, the tag is stout, which I'm saying is you do it off duo, right? You have the maybe motion coming over. Stout being a stalk out. So you're going to fake the stalk block and then run the out route at 5 yards to keep the corner down. And you're going to hit the crosser over top of it, right? We're aiming for 25 yards out of bounds and 1 high. Obviously, you can flatten off against man. You're not going to get the depth you want. But you see 1 high, we're going to try to work the boundary side. Don't love running duo protection off of Dagger. Okay, here it makes sense because I know I'm only running this against 1 high. It's probably a can call, so it doesn't matter. Generally, though, you need that flat element, that bait element to sit here. NFL field, it'll be the bait will be in the divide, right? So everything I drew up was on a college field. NFL field, you'd want a player in the divide, and the ball would be caught on the hash in the NFL. Duo protection, you're obviously going to lose that because you're faking that way. You're not going to have an underneath player help the dig on covering in zone. But like I said, it doesn't matter here because it's probably purely, I'm guessing here, this is probably purely a man play. If it's too high, they'll probably just run duo and call it a day. So good play if you do maybe motion and block support with receivers. It makes it look just like it. You hold the corner down and you throw the crosser right behind him. Okay, same look here. I don't like running this play against single high defenses if you don't have a route backside, either that stout stalk out to hold him, a comeback, a curl, something to hold the backside corner. This is the reason. Right now, the backside corner can sit in that window. You have nothing to hold him down, and the play is not as good. Now here, the dig opens up against man. That's not something I would want to depend on to happen. I think it's a harder route to win against man. Obviously, people can hammer it. We'll see that coming up. Another thing I don't love is outside zone play action off this play. It'll make more sense when we get to the cover 2 cut-ups. Right, I don't love the flat route as much. I like the bait route. Flat route, you can run into flat defenders and pull everybody here. The intention of this play for me is to put a guy in the hook. I'm sorry, put a guy in the curl and then put a guy in the hook. I don't need a flat guy and a hook guy. That doesn't stress the defense as much. Right, so two things. I don't like outside zone off this play. I don't like run this play without a backside element to hold the backside corner. Now, if you're reading this thing purely as through to dig, it doesn't matter as much. Okay, but I am a proponent of going 1 high and a 2 high side. Not a play action, just based off. We're just going open field or open twin set, calling it. Right, you have your one high side over here, same thing. Your two high side down here. You can see the look into Tampa, right? We got the through route runner here, right? The first two reps was one high, so he's running the high cross. Now it's clear split coverage, right? Two high coverage, however you want to talk about it. He's breaking at 12 yards, running the opposite hash at 40. You see what that does, right? It clears out the safety. It also clears out the middle hole runner in Tampa. And you end up putting two guys on this guy. You're in out him. You see the beautiful distribution here. 5 yards in the divide. Perfect. And the ball is generally caught on the hash in the NFL. Right. So this is a really good look at how this thing plays out against two family. Obviously, you don't love this. Straight dropbacks would be difficult because it does take a while. If this was some sort of one high coverage, right? They roll one way or the other, doesn't matter. Any sort of one high, the inside post is off, ends up to a crosser, and now you're working this whole triangle they got built over here to the boundary. So pure one high, two high. But you can see just how beautiful this is against cover two, against five wall type coverages would play out very similar. So this is a premier two play. It's a premier cover five play as well. Here it is against five man match halves. We have a different protection. Tight end leaking out late as a shallow, which I don't love. I think he ends up stacking the zone pretty poorly for the offense. When I stay stacking the zone, now you got two guys in the curl. I'm sorry, two guys in the hook right there. Makes the throw a little bit more difficult. People say this is a high-low concept. I think you need to properly high-low somebody. Just talking about in zone defenses, period. You need like 20 yards of separation. I think to really high-low somebody. So the only time I high-low somebody is a corner and like some sort of smash type concept. I think when people say high-low and you look at the clips, it's really always an in-out on somebody. But just looking up top, don't worry about down here. We have different protection on. You can see how this thing plays against five and how does a premier tag. You clear out the two wall player and you have the dig coming right behind him if the corner is not squeezing hard enough on it. Right, so this is what you want the player up against. And they're running the high corner from two. He's not running the post. I'll get into that in just a little bit. And why I like that. Now looking at cover two here. Important to get the third element out on this play. Protection, how you protect is very important here. I think this play is more important than some other plays of getting the back out, the third element, whoever that guy is, to go run the bait for you. You could peek. I can't believe I just said that word peek. You could look at the influence post or inside post if you wanted to. That to me is more just to occupy route and too high. He shouldn't really ever be open. I'm going dig to bait. So obviously the bait takes forever to get out of here. They're able to run and get underneath the dig route, but you end up dumping it down and getting whatever it is, 15 off this thing. One more look at it against cover two. Here's why I don't love the flat route coming from the backfield. This exact reason, right? I'm calling this play hopefully for cover two or cover five. The issue is when you start running the flat routes, now you're running right into the corner. You're not putting this player in conflict anymore. He can now sink straight back, forcing a high throw and what should have been a pick. I'm a proponent of running the bait route from the running back, sitting him right here in a divide, and now putting a 2-on-1 on that kid. Now I realize that depending on how you build your protections and all that kind of stuff, it's hard to get a bait route from the running back. If you can, that's much better than running the flat for this exact reason. Cover two, it's a much easier cover, right? This play should be premier against cover two. It is now a much easier cover if you're on the flat instead of the bait route. I lied to you. One more look against cover two. So here they have the tight end coming across, different protection. Tight ends coming across to serve as the bait. Once again, you see the void in cover two and cover five. That's what we're attacking here. Don't love the route from the through route. Like him to straighten back up. To attack the safety, right? It's too high. Attack the safety and then 12 yards break across his face. He ends up running a little bit more of a kind of like a mix between a crosser and a through route. The safety's able to drop him a little bit. And once again, the catch point on this thing and too high is going to be on the hash. And one high, I'll get to that in just a little bit, actually. So cover three, don't love the dagger side. The dig side in cover three, right? Just think about it from a zone perspective. What are we doing offensively? Well, not on this play because they're running duo, which is good. But really, what are we doing? We're putting a guy in the hook. We're putting a guy in the curl. If the defense has a hook and a curl defender, right? Just base defense one-on-one. If we're putting a guy on, if we're putting two in the zone and they have two in the zone, the play's not any good. That's why it's good against cover two, right? You're draining the Tampa runner, and they only have one defender to take away those two zones. Here in cover three and in some quarters concepts, they have a curl defender and they have a hook defender. Therefore, a hook curl conflict puts nobody in conflict. Right, pretty basic thought process. Right, by running duo, you see it here again, you don't have a bait element. And I don't think it would matter here based off the coverage, but you don't have the underneath element for the dig route runner. If you wanted to hammer the dig side and no matter what in one high. Here, how I'm teaching the quarterback, one high running the boundary side. So they have that same stout type look from earlier. A stalk out to hold the corner. We don't hold the corner gets depth. The through route sits for whatever reason. Through route to me should keep running, or we end up high lowing the corner. Okay, with a 5-yard out and a 25-yard deep cross. The corner looks like he's getting pretty good depth here. So to me, the ball should go up top to the flat element. The 5-yard out from the tight end, right? And they covered it pretty well. We'll get our 7 yards, catch and tackle, and we'll make it second down. So he ends up getting there. He ends up getting there super late. They look like they're really trying to hammer the dig here, right? Which some teams will read a dig side no matter what. I'm saying go one high, two high on this read. Now look at it. So same protection from earlier against the cover two look that was Premier. Here and there in cover three, right? They buzz it down with the safety inserting inside the nickel. Doesn't matter. They have what? They have a curl defender and they have a hook defender. Okay, so it's able to be covered up pretty easily. Obviously, they got Kittle late in the down here. So it depends on if you think this jet could hold the cornerback down here. I think this is a good play call. Can you see in one high, right? We're high low in the corner in one high. This side, I'm a proponent of now throwing this. This side's off in one high. I'm looking straight here. Right, you can see where the ball would go. They're still looking dig side here. Which, I mean, who am I to question the coaching? But I'm just saying how I would coach it is to work this one high side. You can see they have enough droppers to take away all the conflict. They have a flat runner here, obviously not a bait, but they got the tight end coming late in the down on the shallow sit. So cover three, if you did want to hammer it home, you did want to look this side no matter what. The coaching point was this route and one high is caught right where it curls. I mean, you're basically making a curl flat stretch. So you have to beat the hook defender. Right, and two high, this ball is caught on the hash. And one high, talking about NFL, I'm sorry. And one high, this thing's caught in the curl area, which would be like top of the numbers-ish. Right here, they caught catching the divide, which is about the latest you'd ever want to throw this thing if it's one high defense, because that is the defender you have to avoid, is the hook defender. Same thing here. I wouldn't run it this way unless it's just like a two high check, one high check type thing. I would not run it without an element to hold the corner, because now everybody can sink back and take the crosser away. And now you have to throw the dig, which here it's open. I would not count on the dig side being open and against a one high defense though. It shows up, right? But it's a much tighter throw. You now have to change the landmarks for the quarterback. You have to change a lot of things. When I think there's easier ways to make this play work and make it better by working the boundary side. One more look at cover three. Here you don't have the two-player up top running the through route. He's running a straight seam, which I've done in the past. And you can see why it's worse. Now in cover three, there's truly nowhere to go with the football. They're dunking it down and getting tackled for 0 yards. Right, if he was running a through route and reading it, one high running the crosser, he's now attacking this space over here. You can see in cover three, we don't like this play. They have a guy for the bait, right? They have a curl defender and a hook defender to take away this thing. That's a tight throw if you want to bang that thing in there on the dig, right outside the break, right? By doing this, you're essentially making it a curl flat if he catches it right there. Like I said, you can make it work. I think there's easier ways to make this play better and more explosive than trying to jam in a dig route right out of the break against single high defense. So same thing, one more look here. 3 fire zones could play out very similar. Right, where you see the stout blocker, like the maybe motion, single high stuff. On duo, he's going to insert on whoever he would block in duo, and then run a 5-yard out to hopefully keep that corner down. And now we have that space to attack with Cup or whoever the through runner is. Lose the back of protection. Okay, they're faking duo. They hit this against somebody. I forget who it was. Like maybe in the playoffs, they hit this thing on their run last year. Right, it's beautiful. He catches at 25 yards. It's like house drawn up. But you see one high, right? Once again, the space created by high low in the corner and one high, and not worrying about this side. So that's the basics of it. I'm gonna go through just 10 or so kind of wrinkles off the play. My favorite one being this top left chip version of the play. This is the Rams run this a good amount. They'll run it on second and longs, third downs type thing. You're getting potentially a double chip based off defensive presentation up front. Here I have it as a single chip. If all linebackers are at depth, and it was really clean, you could put the running back here and get a double chip and run the check swing. But it ends up being the same thought process as one high, two high. One high, we want the curl to the through route over the top of it. Two high, we want the dig to the chip bait route. Something to note is they will deepen this route up when they run this concept like this. He's now running to the deep pylon. He's running the same stems, but instead of 40 yards on the hash and 25 yards out of bounds, you're telling him to run to the front pylon of the end zone. So single high, same thing. Stem to the middle of the field at 12 yards, take your foot in the ground, and now run to the front pylon. If it's too high, run around the too high safety, the near deep safety, however you want to term it, break across his face and run to the deep pylon. So that's the chip version. That's my favorite way of running this football play. I think it's better than play action. I think it's better than all that kind of stuff. If you wanted to run it two trips, okay, here we're in double chip type set again. Ignore the running back and the tight end. If you want to run this ball or run this thing 2 trips, you have 2 options. You can put number 3 on a low cross, or you could have one of the 2 or 3 run the rail route, which you see at the bottom left-hand side. So you can rail one of them and still have the same, 3-man concept here, or you could low cross him and then still get the same 3-man concept. Got a lot of stuff happening up top on the right. And then finally, my favorite way of running it if you want to run this to a nub set and kill this set and not have a curl or something, you want to really protect this side, I recommend running it with a high corner and not a through route. Okay, so the issue on a through route, if it's one high, you now have nothing to hold this backside corner of getting underneath it. If you run this version, that's fine. I can now 8-man protect it, be really solid back here, and not worry about this side because I'm running a high corner away from everybody. And I think this Chiefs have made this relatively popular with the speed they have at 2 running the high corner over top of it. This is how they essentially won the Super Bowl. Now it's not out of the set. They're doing it out of maybe trips open, I believe. But they just had Tyreek Hill running full speed on the safety here in the high corner. The corner nails down on the dig. Now you have all that space behind it. So really like this play out of a nub dead set. To me, this ball is basically always going to the corner, the hike equal hike corner. You're welcome for that. So looking at some of these things, my favorite way to run is off double chip. Protection, like I said, they'll start out in this double chip. If there's any sort of linebacker mug, they'll bring the running back in, but still run the same protection. So single high, remember they're running this route a little deeper in this type of formation and set. So single high, what are we saying? Same thing, same read for the quarterback. We're working boundary side to the, however you want to term this, the deep over. So single high, they get what they want. All right, we slip out of their break, not a great ball, but you can see it opening up to the boundary. To Tampa, we don't like this side. We like the dig side, the field side into Tampa. You can see why. We have a nice inside post from the through runner, right? He's gonna clear out the Tampa runner and the deep halves, right? You have some sort of invert going on here. So he's a pure influence route. Clear it all out. They'll run this a little bit deeper too. He'll get to about 7 or 8 yards in this set. Right, he's at 8 yards right there in the divide, which is fine. And you're putting a guy on the hash. You're in-outing this guy. Now he does a good job. You can see the sticks up top. Good job of keeping depth and packing this thing back in. And the ball should go down to the bait. Get a little bit greedy here at quarterback, but you can see the intention is playing too high is right there. Cover three, once again, they're hammering the dig side more than I would. You're getting single high, right? Not to be a dead horse here, but single high, what do we like? We like this flood. You're building a flood essentially, which you really like against single high defenses. So I'm going curl, flat to the over. Right, the ball will probably go curl here. Like I said, pretty easy pickup in cover three to the dig side, even with the curl flat guy expanding way out. Single high, see it again. Which side we're working? Boundary side. Curl flat to deep over. Once again, they're trying to hammer the dig more than I would. Tough route to win against man. Just in general, if my guy's as good as your guy, I don't love running an 18-yard dig against man. Takes a long time. Tough to throw. Tough to separate. I like running this boundary stuff better. Premier look, you're getting cover 2 or 5 wall down here. Right, cover 8 being quarter halves, 8 flip, meaning we're running the halves to the nickel side. This is a shame, right? You're getting split field coverage. Now they're working the curl side for whatever reason. Maybe he just likes the one-on-one curl aspect. I'm not quite sure how they teach this. You can see once again, right? We're clearing out the 2-player, we're clearing out the wall player. The 3 players going to relate to the bait, and you have nobody on 1 coming underneath 2 in this type of coverage if they don't drop the crease or whatever cool words they want to say. Right, so no better play against halves or cover 5 cloud defenses than Dagger. So here's the quads look. Here's your first option if you want to run out of trips. You have 3, just run the low cross, right? 12 yards across the field. But you keep, and then that keeps everybody else the same, right? So here we have a shag call, which is the shallow from the X. But you're telling 3 to run the crosser, the low cross. You have the same through route from 2 one's on the same dig, and then you have some sort of flat bait element coming from the backfield. So it ends up being the same thing schematically, offensively. One high, two high, two high. Let's still work this side right here. One high. Right now we're going cross to the cross over top of it. Not a lot of ton of good cut-ups of this. They're running it on third and 12 plus, right? It's hard to find a lot of good plays period in that down distance, but just trying to provide you options. If you want to run this thing on trips, this is one option. With the railing, one of the two guys being the second option. So here the number two on a rail. So he runs the through route. He stays on the same rules. He's railing. He's running a dig, and now your flat bait element still comes from the backfield with solid protection backside. Quite honestly, I'm not sure, when this is better or when this is worse. Just trying to provide options if you didn't want to run this from different sets. One more look. Okay, they're keeping him on the through route here. Inside post, high cross, him on a dig, and now they're railing number three. So same thing, now they're just switching these two. Not sure what covers are in here. It's obviously some sort of too high type thing. Everything's telling me quarters except for Ramsey, which is sometimes tough to tell what. I don't know if he's the best indicator sometimes of coverage. For some reason, they activate the inside post here, which is extremely scary, going four to a side and having a dead nub side. The safety has nothing else to do. I am not a proponent of activating the inside post, especially with this set. But who am I? Because they complete the ball for 30 yards. To me, the rail's out of it. It's too high. You're going basically dig, debate. That's it. So here is one of my more favorite ways of running this football play is the hike. So the high corner, the through route is off. He's sticking at 12 and running to the front pylon on the high corner, and he's still running his normal dig route. You see from stack, they will outside stem it to get separation. To me, the timing of this play, the ball is basically always going in my world to the high corner. I'm doing this to hold the corner down. Right, you can see it here in cover three. It's premier because you're gonna hold the corner down on the dig, hopefully, and then end up running away from the middle of field safety with all that leverage you have. So they're running this thing a little bit deeper, probably at 15-ish, with almost a 20-yard corner, depending on how you want to run it. But I'm not quite sure how they're reading this football play. But to me, the ball is almost always going to the corner if I'm calling this. Now, that being said, I like this type of concept better with a curl from number one. Because now there is time to read that one to that to two. Right. And it's still the same depth and all that kind of stuff to still hold the corner. But now you're truly high lowing it. You're flaying it over there. To me, these routes are kind of happening at the same time. Right. If you read this first, I feel like you'd be really late on the dig with all the linebackers coming underneath it. And then trying to read the dig first to that second, you better have like Josh Allen's arm to throw a second look deep corner route. But you see the idea of it is something to hold the corner and the high corner from the slide over top of it. Like I said, I like this version of the play best, where you don't have anything to hold this backside corner down. So you say, screw him. He gets the play off. Let's keep the ball on this side of the field. You can be really, really solid on your protection now. So you don't need anything over there to leak out to hold that corner down. Now we're kind of combining two concepts. So we have the high corner going from two, and now three is on this crosser. So kind of mixing and matching here. Seeing once again, corner actually does a really good job of recognizing it just a second late. You can see you'll have leverage on the middle field safety. You just need that corner to take one step up on the dig, and you should be able to beat them. Super, super, super late on the corner route. Right, we 3-step it, 5-step it. 1, 2, 3. We 5-step it and then take 2 shuffles. Right, there's about 2 guys in the league that can make that throw this late in the down. Right, so to me, if I'm calling this play, I'm high corner and I'm having him run a curl as your second look. If the corner does fall off, then you have your normal curl flat type stretch to check the ball down to. Last play. So this kind of look is popular with the Dolphins this year. To me, what they're doing, I know they're snapping the ball when he's inside, but what are they making? They're making that same stack that I've shown time and time again, right? The same stack that is here. Nope. Here. They're making this stack. They're just making it on the run. Okay. So obviously, Dolphins did a lot of good stuff off this year with Tyreek Hill. They would get him running full speed, and then he becomes a dig runner. Very tough on the corner. There's some really cool stuff. And now they have all sorts of concepts. But to me, they're making the stack on the run here. You know, the ball is being snapped with him on the hash. Right now, they're getting right back to stack relationship, and now they're running the same dagger hike we've talked about with the deep dig coming and the high corner coming from the slot. So that's sort of how I see this motion, right? For a long time, I saw this as just a normal 2x2 set with the jet motion. And the more I watch it, they're running their stack concepts. They're just doing it on the run and making it stack like 5 yards down the field, if that makes sense. So if you are a stack team, I think this is a good way to do it. Same thing. I'm getting like way off topic here, but this is how it kind of goes. Tennessee will do this with the stack switch vert stuff. With Hyatt a lot this year, they're able to make stack on the run, as I say. They'll snap the ball with him like halfway in the apex between the tackle and the receiver, and he ends up winding up in stack relationship. So once again, how it plays out against quarters, same reason, right? I don't have a route to the nub side, so I don't want to run the through route over there and possibly activate that in single high. Let's kill that side. Let's be really strong in protection. We have a solid call, and then let's run the high corner with the dig. Now, because of this timing, you might be able to look truly 1-2 because the dagger is coming from a little bit more depth. He has a little bit more time here. You might actually be able to go 1 and then dagger to 2. That being said, I still like throwing the curl as a second look. I think it's much safer than throwing a dig across the field as your second look. All right, once again, you see the leverage created on the safety. The corner takes the dig. That is about as good leverage as you could ask for to throw a deep corner route on. Yeah, so they're running this thing a little bit deeper. Something I got to probably look at a little bit more. Maybe deep up to 15. I'm not sure if the depth matters a ton. Just something to look at. Yep, that's the last one. Please reach out with any questions. I appreciate y'all staying on in this thing, and hopefully I'll pump out some more of these things as I keep going. Thank y'all.